Welcome to the show, guys. Hey, if you'd like to support this channel, there's PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. We got a great one lined up for you today. The Evolved Sea Sparrow Missile Block 1 and Black Swan. Ballbusters, assemble! What's going on out there, guys?
It's all good.
It's going great.
Hello.
Still marveling about the intro. Yeah, that ball crushing animation is just so awesome. You can feel the work that got into that. It's so awesome.
Yes, Adam killed that intro. Beautiful thing.
Yeah, QE's got a very big whip.
I'm not going to comment until I'm added. Then I'll comment.
Oh, boy.
We should give him a proper introduction. So, introducing Paul Hall, the latest Ballbusters. Ballbuster.
Ballbuster.
Yeah, that's the one.
Mr. Paul, the tech guy.
Glad to be here. Glad to be the tech guy. Wonderful to talk to everybody.
What's up, Paul? Good man, bro. Glad to have you aboard.
Welcome to the team.
He's been on the team. This is just clean up.
Yeah, but it's now official. Paul Hall, now an official Ballbuster. So, welcome to Paul. He's a very, very valuable member of the team. Always was, technically speaking, as Chocolate says. It's good to have you here, Paul.
Thank you. I think you could call me the simulator debunker. That's what I am.
Have you decided upon an intro animation yet, Paul? Know how important that is.
I'm not that tech savvy, so somebody may have to do that for me. So.
Yeah, your mic's already starting to break up. Yeah, you just talk to Adam. I'm sure he's going to be overwhelmed with joy.
I'll do it.
It's got to have something to do with simulators. So,
hey, those are really helpful too, Paul. Not to put down on those guys, because when you do that, I mean, there's some really good visuals you pull up, so it helps everyone out.
Well, thank you. I was actually able to use the Beslin simulator and cause things to sync on a flat Earth. Oh, they didn't like that too well.
That Walter Beslin.
it reminds me of that ship, the sinking of the Bislin.
That's the Bismarck. Same thing, though. Beslin, his ship sunk, I don't know, about 2 years ago. He's the one that likes to delete entire threads. That's what ballers do. That's the intellect and the intestinal fortitude and integrity that they have, that we've all come to know and love.
Oh, yes.
Hey, so what's new on the home front? Any new horizons? Any more apparent horizons?
Well, I heard of this new terminology called the topographical horizon. So, one new horizon.
Nathan unleashed that the other day.
Yeah, I did. It's a good one.
Go ahead, define that, Nathan.
Define what?
Topographical horizon?
Topographical horizon, as in a piece of hill that's closer to you. So if we're describing your comparison for when we're describing refraction, for instance. So if you're looking at a hill in the distance and your mate's house is on the other side of it, well, the topographical horizon would be the top of the hill. I.e., it's not a geometric horizon that's in the distance, it's just a piece of topography in the near foreground.
Exactly. You got it. Yep, that's exactly what most of us see. Well, maybe not topographical, but in where I live, you're going to see houses, right? That's not the land meeting the sky. That's the houses meeting the sky. So it's a little different. But yes, I mean, there's many occasions that will happen.
Just goes to show how many different angles there are to how a horizon is being used as a concept in descriptions.
Yeah, you'll find it a lot in the hill country too, right?
But there's only ever one place where the sky appears to meet the ground, which is usually called the horizon.
Sure, but I think I don't know if I'm stealing thunder here, but I think the point of all this is that when you lay down the modus tollens argument, it might be taken by some people to mean that if the horizon's not precisely where they say it should be, then you've debunked something or it's a black swan, and that's simply not the case. The horizon can be closer and it not in any way destroy the geometry. So if you've got a topographical horizon that's closer to you, well, it's meaningless. It doesn't in any way debunk the assertion of a sphere Earth based on its, i.e. the sphere Earth's geometry. So once you go beyond the physical limitations of the geometry, that's when you have your black swan. But before that, or something physical in the way, or I don't know, atmospheric obstruction, none of that is important to the black swan. It's only when you go beyond the physical limitations of the geometry. Once you go beyond the limitations, that's why you have people saying, well, we never see a geometric horizon, ... unless something's being obscured by it. In other words, it descends the entire model into farce.
Exactly, sir. Thank you for that. Yes. And if the ballers could understand what you just said concisely, I'm going to unleash it here a little later on. They would understand the argument. I'm going to give a one sentence, complete, comprehensive understanding of the argument here a little bit later, just to help them. It might limit the time down from 14 to 12 months. We'll see how it goes, but I'll unleash it.
Cool.
All right, guys. Anything else before we get started here?
I would just do a quick announcement. Anybody that's jumped on the stream, if they wanted to watch it in Discord, they can just click on me. Might want to redo that again, or just say that one more time.
Yeah, and that's Go ahead.
I was just going to add one thing in terms of the sea sparrow. So before the black swan, in terms of globe Earth debunkings, this was #1, number one, the best of the best. So this is going to be a bit weird. In fact, it gives me goosebumps to say this. We've got a better than the sea sparrow globe Earth debunking, which is the black swan. But that's not to say in any way, shape, or form that people need to sort of sit back or rest on their laurels while this next presentation goes ahead. It is just as good as it always ever was. It absolutely destroys the assertion that we're on a globe. So I just don't want anybody to diminish the sea sparrow proof because it's fantastic.
It gives you goosebumps. It gives me swan bumps.
Swan bumps, that's the one.
I like that one, swan bumps.
The black swan. Listen also, attention to the audience. This is a BALLBUSTERS episode. In the info box below, it has instructions. Anyone from the audience can join the voice chat. Everyone entering the BALLBUSTERS Discord voice chat is clean slated. That means any bad history between the guest and any of the panel members will be put aside and not spoken of. There are 3 zero-tolerance rules. Number 1, no ad homs. That's attacking the man or woman in lieu of the argument. Number 2, no scattergunning. One topic at a time, each will be exhausted to conclusion before moving to the next. Be prepared to support every claim. Number 3, be polite, speak slowly and coherently. If any of these 3 are violated, you will be immediately server muted, then kicked from the BALLBUSTERS voice chat. Any questions out there in the audience land? You are free to join. There is a link in the info box below. Also in the info box below, there are links to BMLSB69's original video and the second black swan. We're going to show you that today. The info box is chock full of information, so I would suggest every now and again to check that info box. Without further ado, the Evolved Sea Sparrow Missile. This one, the Block 1. Okay? What I'd like to point your attention to here, and it's critically important, And I don't know if you can see my little arrow here, but it's this contraption down on the lower right-hand side of the missile housing. Right here on this photo and right here on this photo. These are the target illumination radars, right? They are crucial to the point of the entire discussion. I don't really much care where the missile is. Okay, this could be on top of the ship. I could care less. Wouldn't matter. I am concerned with the target illumination radars, where they are at. Because that's the key. The target illumination radars is the mechanism that illuminates the targets, that allows the Sea Sparrow missile to engage it. So it's critical. General characteristics from Navy.mil. The primary function, surface to air and surface to surface radar guided missile. Let me say that one more time. Primary function, surface to air and surface to surface radar guided missile. Hope this is clear. Please don't come back to me for the 500,000th time and tell me that it's only a surface to air missile. Bistatic semi-active seekers in the nose of a missile receive a reflected signal from a target that is being illuminated with an RF signal transmitted from a fire control radar, i.e., the target illumination radar, on a standoff platform, that is aircraft or ship. We're talking about ship in our context. Such systems require that the platform maintain line of sight to the target until it is engaged by the missile. Ship-based Standard Missile, SM, and NATO Sea Sparrow AAW missiles are examples of such semi-active mode. The NATO Sea Sparrow requires a constant signal for homing. Range is more than 35 miles. Now, in this document right here from Naval Technology, it'll give 31 miles or somewhere in the vicinity of 50 kilometers. I got the more than 35 miles from a Sea Sparrow missile instructor himself. Now, this distance is not the maximum range. Okay? They're not going to give the maximum range. It's not going to happen, but it's at least 35 miles. The target is illuminated with a 2-degree RF pencil beam, which has to be maintained, i.e. painted, on the target until detonation. At a more than generous 50 feet elevation sea level, that is the target illumination radar, right? That I don't care about the missile, where the missile is. The target illumination radar, that height, that's what I'm looking for. Okay? The target should be hidden behind 463 feet of curvature. So, please explain how you can have line of sight 35 miles away on a spinny ball by showing how a 2-degree RF pencil beam can penetrate 463 feet, 141 meters of target hidden height through a wall of water 26 miles in length, please. Like I said, PS, 35 miles is lowballing. The official max effective range is classified. It's much, much greater than 35 miles. So either A, the evolved Sea Sparrow missile Block 1 exists, or B, the spinning ball religion exists. They are mutually exclusive. Both can't be true. Savvy? See if you can follow this. Number 1, the range of the ESSM Block 1 is 50 kilometers. It's not, it's 35 miles. Actually, it's much further. Like I said, it's classified. Number 2, the target must be illuminated by RF pencil beam via target illumination radar on the launch ship. It has to be on the launch ship, the same ship that the missile is on. We'll get into that here in a few minutes. For the weapon system to engage, ergo, it must have line of sight. Number 3, the target illumination radar and the evolved Sea Sparrow missile Block 1 must be on, like I said, the launch ship. the same ship. Number 4, surface targets, that's ships and sea skimmers. Sea skimmers are classified as a surface target. Why? Well, they only fly between 10 and 30 feet above the deck. Get it? Probably not. Surface targets are engaged by the ESSM Block 1 from launch ships. Number 5, the horizon at 50 feet elevation, according to the curve calculators, is 8.65 miles. That's a geometric horizon, by the way. Ergo, the limit of line of sight on a sphere is 8.65 miles at that elevation. Number 6, if the ESSM Block 1 can engage surface targets from ships at anything greater than 8.65 miles, that's 13.9 kilometers, and it most assuredly can, then the Earth must be flat. Now, your favorite, the modus tollens. If P, then Q, not Q, therefore not P. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, P, then illuminating surface targets, including sea skimmers, with an RF pencil beam would be limited to 8.65 miles, Q. Not Q, because surface targets are illuminated, then engaged at distances greater than 4 times that limit. Therefore not P. The Earth is not a sphere. The prosecution rests simple. They live in a fairy tale, the end. P.S. The comebacks I usually get to this is this. Other than, it's a surface-to-air missile, QE. But the missile and the target illumination radar don't have to be on the same ship. Yeah? Factually incorrect. From Raytheon, who makes the missile. Unlike the RIM-7 Sea Sparrow missile and the ESSM Block 1, Block 2's active seeker will support terminal engagement without the launch ship's target illumination radars. Between the semi-active capabilities that the Block 1 brings and the active capabilities that the Block 2 will bring, the consortium's warfighters will have the best of both worlds when it comes to ship self-defenses. The important part is right here. Without the launch ship's target illumination radars. So what they're doing, they're juxtaposing the RIM-7 Sea Sparrow and the ESSM Block 1 against the Block 2. See how they did that? This means that the RIM-7 Sea Sparrow and the ESSM Block 1 must have the target illumination radar and the missile on the same launch ship. The ESSM Block 2 doesn't need the launch ship's target illumination radar on the ship, but the Block 2 ESSM isn't going to be ready until 2020, so sometime this year. Right? From docs.house.gov, the Evolved Sea Sparrow Missile ESSM Block 2, an improved short-range ship-based missile that counters attacks by multiple cruise missiles at low altitude, as well as adversary jamming and radar deception. It will be fielded in 2020 with 80 missiles going to the fleet. So this year, 80 missiles, right? The problem for you? Please tell me how the Evolved Sea Sparrow Missile Block 1 has been engaging surface-based targets at more than 50 kilometers with the target illumination radars on the launch ships for the past 15 years. .Navy.mil. The first production of the Evolved Sea Sparrow missile was delivered in late 2002 to the U.S. Navy by Raytheon Missile Systems and has been in full operational use in the U.S. since 2004. Listen closely. Kaboom. The fairy tale ball-tard spinning space monkey religion just crashed and burned with such ferocity it would make Steve Austin's $6 Million Man Crash and Burn look like a fender bender. Comments, questions?
Sir, the Earth appears to be flat, sir.
Get those heels together!
Have a super chat from Amanda H.
Go ahead, Paul.
Climber Racer, go ahead and terminate these ballers. Keep it up. Keep up the great
Hey,
work.
Paul, stop. Hold on. Mr. Tech, your microphone's Circling the drain as we speak. Go ahead and drop and come back in. Thanks. Chocolate.
Is that better?
That's better.
Yes.
Okay, let me get the stream back up. Did you hear the super chat? Go ahead, Connor, from Amanda H.
Paul. Every time it seems there's a correlation between you pulling up that live stream and your mic going kaput.
You mean drop the live stream?
Drop the live stream while you're chatting and pull it up when you're not chatting. How about that?
Okay, how about now? Is that better?
It's good now. Thank you, sir. Go ahead. Amanda Young?
Yeah, Amanda Young. Go ahead, or Climb Racer, go ahead and terminate these ballers. Keep up the great work.
Yes, ma'am. Arwen.
Yes.
This must be a Netherlands thing, man. Yeah. Your thoughts on the evolved Sea Sparrow missile? If you don't have any, we can move on.
Well, these are military issues, and I'm kind of like almost shocked that you know so many details. You must follow the right channels concerning the technology, and yeah, they need to know what they're doing. So if they have this range capability, then yeah, there's only one conclusion you can draw from that. If they have the capability, then the Earth must be flat. Sure.
Thanks, Arwen. Paula.
Nothing new to say. Of course, you've presented this before, and it seems pretty obvious that it's a distance issue for the ball model, which apparently, pun intended, doesn't need to be a fixed number anymore, so anything goes.
Thanks, Paula. Anthony, how's it going today, sir?
It's going pretty, man.
What do you think about the evolved Sea Sparrow missile, sir?
If the Earth is a sphere, it can't work. It does work. Earth cannot be a sphere.
That's deep.
Yeah. It might not be accurate the way I said it. It might not represent a logical argument, but you got to see these things to fire at it. We see these things, so they must be pretty much physical. Yeah, they get shimmered a little bit by a little bit of refraction, but refraction, the way that it is defined, is negligible, unless you're seeing fata bromosus, fata what's the other one?
Fata bromosa and fata morgana.
Yeah, towering, stooping, all of the known forms. But if you can see it, it's because it's there, not because it's not there. So you can hit these things. I remind myself of Taboo Conspiracy's periscopes video, where he has a periscope that appears above the surface of the water by inches, so that the enemy don't see the periscope peeping out, and they can see far enough to be able to fire what they call torpedoes and things like that. Well, if the Earth was a sphere at such low elevations relative to the waves, then the furthest that they can see is less than a mile. The periscope would have no value, because if you're within a mile of a boat, you can already see it with various other instruments that they've got on board. You wouldn't need a periscope; it wouldn't need to exist. So for me, it's like the line of sight is not a curved line of sight; it's a line of sight. And the fact that the Sea Sparrow missile works, periscopes exist, submarines are able to navigate the seas properly and see the enemy, tells you that you're looking at the object. You're not looking at it loomed around or up from behind a sphere or a curve or any of that nonsense. It's obvious. Over.
Hey, Paul. Check BALLBUSTERS live stream text chat for me, please. Chocolate. What say you, sir?
You got another super chat, by the way, from Rakia Live.
And?
Shout out to Amanda H. Hope she realizes what Rakia Live is all about. God is good. That's it.
Thank you, sir. And thanks, Arwen. Thanks for catching that for me, please. Chocolate, sir.
Yes, sir. I only have one question. Would this missile system work if everything was being refracted and everything looms? like we're being told right currently by the ball side.
So what would happen?
No.
What would happen to the world's militaries, every single last one of them, if everything was refracted?
They'd go out of business. I don't think they'd hit anything. If all their targets are looming and refracting and all over the place, how are they hitting anything?
They're not. It would render every single world military organization obsolete in a plank time. Think on your feet, people.
Copy that. Over.
10th.
Yeah, I think the line of sight targeting, the 26-mile wall of water that it's got to go through, and that just shows there's no curvature. How is it possible to have a line of sight targeting 35 mile plus and then have it go through water, the curve that the ballers insist is there or would be there, and for that radar, 2-degree pencil beam radar, not to refract and go in all directions once it hits the medium of water? So, slam dunk. There's no curvature. Over.
Thanks, 10th. Nathan, sir.
The numbers that they publish are similar to the numbers that we were looking at when we did the Isle of Man. And from memory, there was about a 170-foot wall of water between you and the target. So, essentially, I don't know if anyone can imagine what a 170-foot wall would look like if there was actually an Earth curve obstruction between the target and the maximum published distance that they can hit something. It's a massive obstruction that you need mortars to get over that, not line of sight. So if there was actually a wall, you wouldn't be targeting these things. I mean, now I'm just repeating what everyone else has said, but like I say, it wouldn't be line of sight warfare. It would be, over the hill warfare, because that's what you'd have to be throwing something over.
Nathan, if it was a 170-foot wall of water between you and it, you said I don't know how people would imagine that, but let's contrast the two positions. Orthographically speaking, a 170-foot wall of water would be 170 foot. It would be the size of a mountain between you and it. But from a perspective point of view, depending on how far away it is, it might only be about 10 pixels and relatively small compared to the thing in the background, the mountain in the background. So depending on how we view these things and how we want to deceive the audience to make them think something that's incorrect, a 170-foot wall of water would be a bloody mountain. But in perspective terms, it might just be a wave if it's far enough away. So it all depends on how you define terms and how you see the world. You want to see it in Muppet vision, it's massive. You want to see it in perspective, depends. Depends on how far away it is, depends on how high you are. Are you above it? Are you below it? Are you parallel to it? Whatever. It all depends on how you see it. Over.
Well, we're dictated to in terms of how we see it when we're talking about Earth curve geometry. So in spite of the fact that everybody currently is talking about things being apparent, the geometric mathematics don't deal in apparent. They deal in actual sizes. So when I qualify it as a 170-foot wall, that's by way of the restraints and constraints that they lay upon us when they do their geometry. So they don't account for angular sizes getting smaller with distance. They don't account for the fact that a 170-foot bulge may be smaller if it's closer to you, or bigger the other way around. Smaller if it's further away from you and bigger if it's closer. It's just a 170-foot bulge that should be blocking your targeting system from painting the target at 30 plus miles. So ultimately speaking, you're right, the qualification of the apparent size of the bulge might be useful, but they're not doing that. They've taken the effect of the apparent size, which is a perspective terminology, hijacked it, and called it a 170-foot bulge. So they're never going to engineer in perspective to these mathematics. The whole point of using feet and inches or meters for the target, or the bulge in this case, which is the target when we're talking about a wall that should be in the way, then it's going to be qualified with feet and inches and not in perspective terms. Their calculations don't deal in apparent anything. Like I say, in spite of the fact they're babbling on about how everything's apparent at the moment, which I just think is comical.
All right, guys, before we move on to the Black Swan, we're going to open up the Discord chat, BALLBUSTERS Discord chat, to everyone in the audience. Like I said, the link is in the info box beneath this video. Right? Remember the rules. The rules are also listed in the info box. All right? You can come in.
We do that.
You can come in, comments, questions, and claims. Righteous.
You have another
You got
super
another
chat.
super chat.
Go ahead.
Paul?
Oh, I thought you were going to do it. Flat Earth Data. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, and there's another one. Emma UK just donated £2 super chat donation. Thank you. May be last super chat due to Wu flu. Smiley.
The
Wink.
Woo flu. Is that an apparent super chat?
No, I think the super chat is real.
In the shower. All right. Is that it?
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. All right. Righteous, sir.
All right.
The
We'll start
con.
with Brian.
The con is yours.
All right. We'll start with Brian. Got anything you want to share? Now we'll move on to Brian's logic. Brian's logic, you got anything to share?
Yeah, I was going to say something if it's okay with QE. The ballers are speaking about surface to air and ignoring surface to surface missiles. What they need to do is look into a military term, sorry, known as sea skimming, which is done by supersonic jets and ASCMs. Is an acronym. ASCM, sorry, is an acronym for anti-ship cruise missiles. And sea skimming is done below 10 meters. Below 10 meters off of sea level. And the US Navy claim to be able to take out a ship from more than 100 nautical miles away with sea skimming cruise missiles. Now, obviously, the 100 nautical mile distance is probably more, but that's what their basic claim is. And what borders should look into is some of the anti-sea skimming cruise missile defenses that are being developed that involve ground wave radar being used 30 to 70 nautical miles away from the actual fleet and base, which would mean that the only communication between these, what's known as sonobuoys, which they drop into the water, the only communication between them and the base or fleet will be through ground wave radar, which is basically line of sight. And who knows how far away which also proves how far away some of the sea skimming cruise missiles can be coming from, which would be anywhere up to 100 nautical miles.
Well, they also can't read, because I just went over for about the 158,000th time that the primary function for the Evolved Sea Sparrow missile is surface to air and surface to surface. So you need to take a reading comprehension course. Okay? Thanks.
We know it's flexible. It's good.
Thanks, Brian. Righteous?
All right. We can move on to Brian Jansen's.
Nothing on the topic. Just want to say, love the show. Keep it up.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. And God's Capital says he's busy, so we'll move on to Pool Dog Bear. Pool Dog Bear? All right. And Redman also said he's busy, and we'll skip right on to the last one, Steve Alms.
35-mile dagger.
Did you say 35-mile dagger?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Listen. Is that it?
Yeah, it didn't fill up yet.
For over 3 years, I've had people, now, clumsily, I grant you, try and debunk this. I still have people giving me messages. I haven't did this presentation in a while, the Evolved Sea Sparrow missile, but every now and again I'll get people saying, "Where's that Evolved Sea Sparrow missile at, QE?" Well, it's right here. Okay? And I put out a worldwide message for the past 2 weeks that I'd be doing it again on the Evolved Sea Sparrow missile. Now's your chance, in front of God and everyone, to go ahead and embarrass me with the Evolved Sea Sparrow missile. And what do I get? Crickets. Because you're cowards. You have no intestinal fortitude. You have no integrity.
John,
Yeah.
do you have a one of these systems in your backyard?
Yes, and I'm targeting them.
Oh shit!
No, I'm just kidding, man. But it speaks volumes, right? These chat trolls, the keyboard warriors. Now's your chance. I'm right here. I'm not going to do anything. You've got freedom because you can come in and say what you want. No past is going to be brought up against you.
Oh,
John,
you got
John,
another super chat, by the way, from Neo the One. I don't know what SEK means, but 20 of them, and he says, "If evolution is true, why do we still have G-tards?"
That's a good one, new one. Now it goes like this. If we evolved from monkeys, then why do we still have globetards? That's the question.
But just to get us back on track, that there is no rebuttal to this. Yeah, you say it's telling. They're all in the chat saying it's nonsense. There is no rebuttal. The only seeming rebuttals that could be argued to be rebuttals you've already listed. They're all nonsense. There isn't a rebuttal to this. It demonstrates how flat the Earth is and how incapable of being spherical it is. Now, if you don't know already, being on a globe's just a model. In reality, we don't experience being on a globe, and neither does the military. There's no rebuttal. It's game over. It was game over when it was presented 3 years ago. It's game over now.
I want to say something to clear it up too as well. When you mean by line of sight isn't visual, it's radar, correct? Because there was somebody in the Discord chat talking about, oh, I forgot military uses line of sight, like they use their eyeballs. That's not what you're saying. When you mean line of sight, it's radar.
That's correct.
Which doesn't bend around.
It's
bend around the curve.
It's both.
Yeah, the phrase to look up is painting the target. And what that literally means is you've got to have a dot. I don't know if it's 2 inches wide or something, but a pencil beam is actually got to be painting it, i.e. putting a dot on the target, so to speak. It's got to see it. It's got to have a line between it and the target, which it maintains when it's shooting at it.
And a pencil beam radar cannot propagate over something, correct?
That's correct, or through it. Yep,
They've got nothing. That's it. This is game over. It was, like I say. I don't think there's going to be anybody come in to challenge this because there is no rebuttal to this.
We got Cranberry Coyote who popped in. Righteous, you want to try Cranberry Coyote?
All right. You're off mute, Cranberry.
Thanks for that.
You there?
Thanks for that. That was deep.
Yeah, what do you want?
What do I want? Well.
Yeah, what you fucking want? What's your problem?
Hey, watch the language. Righteous, get ready.
Go on, tell me then.
What do I want?
Hey, buddy. Why don't you relax, guy?
Why don't you give me some evidence then?
You seem a little stressed out. You all right?
Yeah, I am pretty stressed
No, you
out.
don't.
You guys are kind of pissing me off.
Oh, why are we pissing you off? Tell us. Share your
Because
pain.
everything you're speaking is absolute bollocks. That's
Have you ever heard of a generalized, sweeping, ipsy-dixit, baseless bare assertion fallacies?
I'm pretty sure I haven't. Do you mind elaborating?
Yes, this is when you make just a generalized, baseless assertion with no support as like a complete hand-wave dismissal. It's a logical
Would you
fallacy.
mind answering my question then?
It's a logical fallacy that you're employing, sir. Please
Would you
calm
mind
down.
producing a map or a picture of a flat Earth?
We just got done talking about the evolved Sea Sparrow missile. That is the subject. Do you have a claim, question, or rebuttal against the evidence presented against you? Hello?
Yeah,
So
the
besides
emotion guy.
So besides fallacy, do you have anything on the evolved Sea Sparrow missile? Block 1, please. Thank you for your contributions. Righteous, you can go ahead and put him on mute so he doesn't disrupt the rest of the panel.
All right.
Can we talk on that just for a moment, though? I would like to comment on it, if that's okay.
Please.
So that was very telling. So we're talking about destroying globe Earth evidence, destroying the assertion of it being on a sphere, and cognitively, this is going to be very painful for quite a number of people. And they don't have a rebuttal to what's being presented, but they know it annoys them. And they know that we're stupid because we're flat earthers. Therefore, come in with the Professor Dave rhetoric of, have you got a map? And that's a win for them. It's just a way of expressing their pain. So just for anybody who wasn't aware, might be there's new people in the audience, I don't know. Either way, the reason we say share your pain is exactly, has been demonstrated beautifully by that dude. That is literally him sharing his pain with us. And he even told us, verbalized it. I know this hurts. I know I don't like this. yeah, get used to it. That's not a sphere, mate.
We got another super chat from Amanda Young. Shout out to 2QE, Arwin, Betty, Paula, Rakia Live, Emma, with much love.
Thank you, Amanda. Yeah.
Shout out to Amanda.
And besides being that generalized, baseless, sweeping, ipsy-dixit bare assertion fallacy, it was a red herring because we weren't talking about maps. You guys need to understand and learn logical fallacies, and better yet, not to employ them. Okay? Thanks. Righteous, do we have any additions here?
Not that I noticed.
None that I can see. So, if you guys thought that the evolved Sea Sparrow missile was bad, I'll tell you what, Baltards, you need to churn away right now, because guess what's coming?
Wait, we got the edgy sphere if you want to talk to him.
Yeah, and he posted a picture in the Discord chat. Maybe he can explain what he's trying to say.
Edgy
Want to
sphere.
take him off?
Mike's your, yes, go ahead, Righteous.
You're off mute.
Oh, I just wanted to comment that, and then I'm gonna leave again.
Oh, Zender.
If you want to reach further distances with a radar, you can bounce it off the ionosphere, which is basically shown as in this picture. I can basically give you the link if you want a more detailed explanation or whatever.
The evolved Sea Sparrow missile target illumination radars do not bounce off anything but the target. If you got a specific refutation to this target illumination radar, then please provide it in the live chat.
Oh no, just was being general, but this is the only thing I wanted to add.
Thank you. That has nothing to do with our argument. Appreciate it.
Okay, right. Bye-bye.
It's line of sight. We're not shooting the ionosphere. We're shooting the surface ship. The heck?
You'd be shooting at stars if you're doing shooting on the ionosphere, wouldn't you? Not the ship itself.
Yes. Okay, Righteous,
Can I just
anything
go-
else?
I just want to give him props, though. So, props for coming in and at least attempting to rebut this. I mean, the last guy didn't give us anything, so, kudos for at least giving us something. Thank you very much.
You're good to go.
Yes, thank you for trying.
Way to piss all over that bonfire, Arwen. Yeah, thank you for trying. Well done.
Yeah, it was good.
That was a very good doctor voice, Harwin. Very soothing.
Dr. Arwin is ready on standby.
Is that alcohol induced? Oh boy. All right. I'm looking at the chat right now, or the people in here, and that's about it. Am I right, Righteous?
Yes.
All right. Mic discipline and Kleenex discipline for the ballers, because look out. You better get that therapist on speed dial, because here's what I got for you. All right. It's the Black Swan. Heard of it? The entire argument is founded upon the horizon. Let's find out what the horizon is. I got about 20 references. I pulled 3 right here. I think another couple below. Let's take a look-see. Horizon, from their alma mater wiki, is the apparent line that separates the earth from sky. Horizon, the line where the earth seems to meet the sky. The apparent junction of the earth and sky sailing toward the horizon. Horizon, from Oxford Dictionaries, the line at which the earth's surface and the sky appear to meet. From the US DoD, horizon, in general, the apparent or visible junction of the earth and sky, as seen from any specific position. Also called the apparent, visible, or local horizon. From National Geographic below, what is the local horizon? The local horizon, also called the geometrical horizon, is the visible boundary between the earth and the sky. This is kind of slam dunk territory, don't you think? Does everyone understand what horizon is? Why is it apparent or not actually? Well, number 1 is well da. Number 2, it's based on the observer's height. The number 1 well da is because the horizon is the apparent, like I said, visible line between the earth and the sky. Does the sky actually meet the ground? No? Then it's apparent. And number 2, the observer's height, because the geometric horizon varies with the observer's height. What can obstruct, obfuscate, or obscure the geometric horizon? Well, weather, atmospheric conditions, waves, tides, etc. But the geometric horizon can never be more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. It can be closer than that, but it can never be further. However, on the Baltard ball, the geometric horizon, like I said, can be no more than what its geometric constraints allow. It's based on the observer's height and the radius. From Andrew Thomas Young, the subject matter expert, San Diego State University, Astronomy Department. If h is in meters, that makes the distance to the geometric horizon 3.57 kilometers times the square root of the height of the eye in meters, or about 1.23 miles times the square root of the eye height in feet. Now, I didn't need Andrew Thomas Young here to tell me this, because it's simple geometry. For example, the University of Washington Department of Mathematics. So, for all practical purposes, we can estimate the distance to the horizon using 1.22459 times the square root of the height, or perhaps even more simply as just 1.2 times the square root of h, which gives the distance in miles when h is in feet. See? Just simple geometry. It's not Andrew Thomas Young hasn't cornered the market on geometry. Okay? My word. Get ready. The death of the ball-tard spinning space monkey religion. Again. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, then every horizon distance measurement must be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's the geometric horizon. What do we got here? Isn't she a beaut? Now, I don't care what is going on with the oil platforms. Like I said many times before, they can be doing cartwheels in place. They could have a Chinese Superman with a purple tutu being refracted off a hobbled unicorn. I could care less. It's red herring fallacy to the argument. They are only here and used to demarcate distance. Platform Hill House at 6.21 miles, platform habitat at 9.41 miles. The horizon is clearly seen behind the 9.41 mile platform habitat. Clearly. That's the argument. The horizon. Not the buoy, not the oil platforms, not the water, not the smoke, which isn't smoke. I just contrasted the photo from the original pic so you can see the horizon better. You can still see the horizon in the original pic. The observer's height here was 1 foot. The distance to the horizon is greater than 9.41 miles, as clearly seen. The distance to the horizon maximum for a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles is 1.22 miles. It should be way back. I don't think it should be even in this picture. Now, even if the observer's height was 5 foot right here, the maximum distance to the geometric horizon would be 2.73 miles. That might be in here. It would be way up here. Even if BMLSB 69 was at 35 feet next to the shoreline, which doesn't make any sense. What is he going to do? Get on a ladder? Even if he was at 35-foot observer height, the maximum distance to the geometric horizon is 7.24 miles. It would be in between these two platforms. Even at 35 feet observer height. To the argument. Flat earthers. When people come up against this argument, you need to have them restate it back to you. It makes sense, right? If you're going to rebut an argument, you actually have to know what the argument is. If P, then Q, not Q, therefore not P. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, P, then every horizon distance measurement must be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, Q. Not Q, because the horizon distance is greater than 9.41 miles in the Black Swan photo, therefore not P. The Earth is not a sphere. I had a request yesterday to take the P's and Q's out. They said I had my P's and Q's squared away, but to take them out so that many people could understand it. So I will do that now. If the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, then every horizon distance measurement must be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. The horizon distance is greater than 9.41 miles in the Black Swan photo, therefore not P. Sorry, the Earth is not a sphere. It's hard to do it without the P's and Q's, man. I did my best. That's the argument. The ball-tard spinning space monkey community. Please allow me to introduce to you your Black Plague, the Black Swan. There she is. Isn't she lovely? Ah! Here's a second one. Take that! You gotta love it. Thanks to BMLSB 69 for taking both of these photos. Like I said, Each of the original videos is in the info box below this video. How you like me now? Questions, comments?
I don't mind going first if no one else wants to.
Real quick, let's do a super chat real quick. God Scalpel, welcome ballers to the show.
Thanks, God Scalpel. Appreciate it, man. Anything else, Paul?
Nope, that's it. That's all.
Nathan, sir.
So, for those of you who see Globehead commenters talking about the Black Swan argument and saying, it's a dead swan, it's a debunked swan, it's not really an issue, ask yourself this. Why is it we are now being told, quote, you never see the geometric horizon, end quote. Now, I'm not going to attribute that to a particular person because it's been said by multiple people now. Lots of people are saying we don't see the geometric horizon, even though it's defined as the visible point where the sky appears to meet the ground. Appears, meaning apparent already in the definition. You don't need to strap on the word apparent for something that is the apparent position where the sky meets the ground. It's redundant. But they're juxtaposing a geometric horizon that we don't see with an apparent horizon, this redundant term. So they've now got two horizons, the one we see and the one it's based on in geometry. That's two. I'll just count them off for you. According to them, redundantly used by morons, an, singular, one, apparent horizon, and that which we see being based on that which we don't see, a geometric horizon. My point in summarizing all of this is, why would it be the case that we have a non-argument when the Baltards have done a complete 180-degree turn that contradicts every single assertion they've ever made in debate in regards to Earth geometry? Earth geometry is the assertion that we have a physical sphere edge for a horizon that blocks things in the distance and bends when you raise in altitude. It's apparent based on height. And according to them, the higher you go, the more of a ball you'll see till you reach a second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum when it'll bend into a sphere. That's your geometric, apparent, redundant horizon. We don't have a second horizon. We only have one in their model and in reality. But they want two. Well, why would you need a second horizon? Well, because the horizon we see isn't geometric. And they'll tell you so. Oh, we never see a geometric horizon. It's only visible if you sucked all of the air out. If the sky vacuum was actually effective and the second law of thermodynamics held true to the model, then the sky vacuum would actually suck all the air that you're breathing in out of the atmosphere, and you'd see a side-on Muppet vision representation of a single dot horizon that we call geometric. You'd see that if there was no air. It's definitely there, and it's the basis for the one you see. It's the second one that you don't see. So now that everyone's clear with that little summary of the bullshit that's come after the Black Swan, ask yourself this. If you don't see a horizon, and we never see a geometric horizon, what the hell were the boats going over? What the hell was blocking stuff? Why are they quoting us how much obstruction they've got? Because that's what they describe it as. Obstruction in feet and inches. Well, what's it obscured by? Well, the physical geometric Earth curve edge that they're claiming they stand upon. That's what they're claiming obstructs it. But at the same time, and sometimes in the next breath, they wave their hand. And with a Jedi mind trick say, we don't see a geometric horizon. Unless I need it to be blocking something. Then we'll definitely... and I'll base calculations of how much is missing based on how much we do see of that physical obstruction that we never see unless there's no atmosphere. So this argument has left them completely relinquishing their assertion that we have a sphere edge blocking stuff in the distance. Now we don't see it. And they're left in perpetual doublespeak, literally, as I say, in sometimes the same breath.
Ha! Arwen,
Ah,
sir.
Yeah, they love the doublespeak. It's like the last remaining ground. It's the permanent pandemonium. So they can just keep on going, double speaking, doesn't matter anymore. That's just, yeah. That's what they chose.
Paula.
Nothing to add. Nathan always sums it up very nicely, and these are the main points that we keep running into because people can't seem to remember from 1 minute to the next what they used to say 5 minutes before or less, and just no other ways to say that. It's them switching arguments and trying to claim that they've been arguing this our side all along, and that somehow it proves their side. It's just complete utter nonsense.
Chocolate.
Can I read out a comment by the Rumpus in chat?
If he's in chat, if he's in chat, then no, because I don't deal with chat warriors. We want people in the VC. We want them to stand up like a man or a woman and defend their fairy tale spinning ball that's circling the drain at light speed.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Any comments on this, Chocolate?
You already know how I feel about this. I mean, they're talking about geometry, which now they deny. When we have people like Mr. Sensible will say things like, oh, at best, what you've done is disprove the radius. Well, I think that would be a slight problem, wouldn't it? I mean, just saying.
We don't have a geometrical horizon. We do.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, they're a complete reversal of their arguments, the denial of even being able to ever have seen the geometric horizon. I mean, that's one I really didn't expect. I thought they just kind of went a little crazy with that one, but I guess, I mean, that's their narrative, right? So we've never seen a geometric horizon. So like Nathan said, what the hell have boats been going over for years? What are things being obstructed by, according to you guys? It used to be physical, but now it's not. Okay, well, welcome to flat Earth.
I'll say it for it. Say it for him, Chocolate. It's the boats are going all over a refracted apparent position. That's what's happening.
Paul, hey Paul, your mic's cracking up again, sir.
Yeah, so I'm done.
Sorry to ruin the mood.
Is that better?
I thought you were Mr. Tech Man. Yeah, that's better. Anthony, Tony, sir. Save the ballers.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. I think the biggest, like Conspiracy Cats has got gas pressure pinned on him. Paul Voigt has got the molten iron core evidence pinned on him. Anytime these people come in chat, that's what we want to see because it's pinned on them forever and ever and ever. We need to pin this on somebody because this needs to go down with one person because it's effective. These guys can't. We need to think every time we think like one of these topics, it needs to be assigned straight away like word association. And I think we should pin it on Mr. Sensible because he's that dumb. He doesn't realize that when he says things like, "Oh, well, at best you've just debunked or disproved the radius of Earth." Well, that debunks your model, guys. Now this guy's that dumb. He thinks that. Well, I don't know what he thinks, but he's a spokesman for you guys. Now you can laugh and jiggle at us as much as you want, but it doesn't change the fact that the horizon's clearly in the wrong place, and it's repeatedly in the wrong place. He's done it 4 times. Now, if it's always special refraction and it always happens to look flat, Well, even if there's a little bit of wiggle room, then it might not necessarily be flat. It's definitely not a sphere. I seen a 1 minute 16 or 1 minute 26-second video by Heath Carmody, where he made the claim that the nearest model it goes towards to support is actually convex. Concave. And I mean, nobody in this topic really gives concave any credibility, and I'm not trying to do that now. But what I am pointing out is that if there's an argument over whether it's concave or flat, well, what does that make it with regards to the apparent ball? It's gone, guys. It's that far away, it can't be explained with refraction. Mr. Sensible tried to demonstrate a refractive argument using a lens applying Snell's law through a curved lens. We know that the lens is something like 1,000 times more dense than the air that's around it. And Snell's law applies, and that's why you get that bend, which isn't actually a bend, it's an angular bend, isn't it, caused by the lens itself. There is no lens in the atmosphere, and for you to do that, we only allowed you to do it because we wanted to see how far you could push it. But you can't push it, because you haven't got a lens in the atmosphere doing it. The atmosphere does weird and wonderful things, but you guys still need to demonstrate that light can curve, follow a curved path rather than a distorted, wavy one, through air, through the atmosphere, for any distance, because that's the evidence that you need. And then you've got to argue about the remoteness of how your argument is formed. Go on, Nathan.
No, you're wrong. It's only occurred to me the other day. Just repeat your last statement about them needing what to curve now? Say it again, please, and I'll follow on from that statement if you don't.
They need the path of light, or the ray, the path that the ray of light takes. They need that to curve over a length of distance to give you a curve. That's what you need. You need to demonstrate that it can even do it. It can't.
Okay. So when you're asserting that you've got a physical obstruction in the distance based on Earth curve geometry, do you draw a curved line to the physical obstruction in the geometry?
No.
So they don't need curved lines to do their geometry. As Rumpus pointed out, the geometric horizon is only applicable in very special circumstances where you can draw straight lines. And every single time they have asserted that there is atmospheric refraction to get around the fact that we can see a bit more than we should be seeing, they're bending the lines. And every time they've done that, they've rendered the geometry void. The geometry requires their straight lines be used. And this is, I explained this on one of the shows, this was already dead when they introduced refraction values to the geometry. Because as soon as you start refracting the light, you can no longer assert a straight line to do the geometry with. We just never spotted it before. Now, it's only because they've now started literally drawing a donkey dick for a tangent line that it's become glaringly obvious what's happened. They're not doing geometry. It's a bastardization of geometry. And you're right, they should require the light to curve other than it making their geometry completely void. Do you follow?
Yeah, but there is a rebuttal to that. If they're going to do geometry... Yeah. I can argue against that.
Make it concise. Hey,
geometry.
Hey, Tony, make it concise. We got the rest of the presentation to go, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we got the rumpus in chat.
If you're going to argue that they're not using Euclidean geometry, therefore they're using non-Euclidean geometry, that's the same as saying what George Musa says when he says, we don't really need to work at the really is level, because non-Euclidean geometry is conceptual. It's based on spheres, right? And although you can get it to mathematically work out, it isn't geometric. It's not Euclidean, and it isn't the same as Euclidean. It shouldn't be treated as comparable. It should be treated as pseudoscience, because it doesn't have any real-world application because in the atmosphere, because that would be begging the question that it's a sphere in the first place, and you're yet to demonstrate that it's a sphere. So yes, you can make that point, but I'll counter it and say it's a begging the question fallacy, because you need to demonstrate that it's spherical in the first place to apply non-Euclidean geometry to.
That's not really a rebuttal, that's actually agreeing with me, but nevertheless.
All right, sirs.
Well, at best, all you've done is disprove the radius. So.
At best, all you've done is entirely destroy our argument. At best.
Which let me be clear, it's the same as George Musa when he says technically gravity is not a force, but you can think of it as a force. That's the exact same argument by Mr. Sensible. He's just it's like glaringly obvious, smacking you in the face. It can't be a sphere, and they admit it.
Yes, sir.
At best, what you've done is prove us wrong.
Yes,
we
Right,
did.
but they did find like the perfect way to cover it up. You know, you gotta admire like the tenacity on their side to win.
We don't.
Nope.
10th.
Right, we've got a few more ballbusters to get comments from, and then there's a bit more presentation, so we've kind of branched into open talk, which we shouldn't be, but 10th, if you can, I think there's...
All right, yeah, nice one there, Chocolate, rounding it off. I don't know how I could top that, but geometry is not actual now, according to ballers. What they used to say was actual, now they're saying the actual is no longer physical or actual. So we haven't changed our position ever. Black Swan came and it upheld our position. Apparent horizon, redundant, but there's only one horizon. And it's embarrassment to them. And like Chocolate said, the best you've done is prove us wrong. Okay, we're done. It's over.
Exactly. I love it. Yeah, thanks, 10th. We also have Dr. John D. I know you had some mic problems before. Dr. John D., can you hear us, sir? Doesn't look like it. That's on us, man. We didn't get that fixed in time.
He's in the chat going back and forth with Rumpus. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see what we got here. Where should we start? I know, right where we ended the last time. Isn't this lovely? This is a romantic photo for you guys, right? This is killer. Observer height's 8 foot. The max distance to the geometric horizon, 3.46 miles. We have platform habitat making another star appearance, and we have a new one. A little different angle here. This is platform C at 6.08 miles and platform habitat at 10.1 miles, right? How far is that horizon away? It's greater than 10 miles, right? It's surely greater than 10 miles in this first photograph, right? First capture, guess what? If that horizon right here is 10 miles away, then the Earth's radius is 264,000 miles. If it's 12 miles away, the Earth's radius is 380,160 miles. If it's 15 miles away, the Earth's radius is 594,000 miles. By the way, the fairy tale sun's radius in their paradigm is only 432,690 miles. If the horizon is 20 miles, the radius is 1,056,000 miles. If that horizon back there is 25 miles away, then the radius is 1,650,000 miles. If it's 30 miles, the radius of the Earth is 2,376,000 miles. Let that marinate. Isn't she a beaut? Happy New Year. By the way, Chocolate said that he'd seen my argument on January 1st. Did I get my days mixed up?
Yeah. You had already formulated the modus tollens on January 1st. Well, so it was you probably formulated earlier than that, but then released it on the 1st because that's when I got it.
Yeah. Thank you. So January 1st. Happy New Year. Now, I'm going to break down this entire argument in one sentence. Are you ready? Ballers, get your therapist and have them get their therapist. They're going to need it. Ready? The furthest the geometric horizon can be on a fairy tale sphere with a radius of 3959 miles is 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. You get this? The farthest the geometric horizon can be on a fairy tale sphere with that radius is 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's I'm thinking about not telling you again. Let's see if you can get it now. Potential debunks. The observer isn't 1 foot and there is land, that is islands behind the platforms. If you look at the #1 globe killer, the first collector's edition, I take these two to the woodshed. So go see that. These are patently false. Number 3, you can't see the horizon. I don't know. Like I said, you could be legally blind and still be able to see this horizon. What about this one? I don't think you have a case. Blind melon chitlins. Number 4, white swans. Here, this is a white swan. This is taken also from BMLSB 69, 19 December 2016, a couple months after the black swan was taken. So what we got here, right? The sea was angry that day, my friends. And we got some atmospheric shenanigans going on here. Does this refute the black swan argument? That's a rhetorical question. Another photo from BMLSB 69. This was taken 4 days after the black swan. Now, I called this a white swan initially, right? But on further inspection, let's take a look at this. Now, I think BMLSB 69 from this video was standing up. So 5 or 6 feet. Now, the geometric horizon should only be a couple miles out here, right? 2.76 miles, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around there, somewhere between that and 3 feet. But as we can see, the horizon is really close to Platform Hill House at 6.2 miles, or 6.02 miles, sorry. Right? This is actually a black swan. I just can't demarcate the horizon precisely. But generally speaking, this is a black swan, folks. Does this observation debunk the #1? No, it doesn't. It's another black swan. I don't care about this platform and whether it's behind the horizon or not. Could care less. It doesn't have anything whatsoever to do with my argument. It can be doing cartwheels, like I said back here. I don't care. It's red herring fallacy to the argument. So, if the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, then every horizon distance measurement must be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, geometric horizon. Right? You got this photo, you got a problem.
Maybe we need to highlight those 5 key words in that statement. Must be no more than.
Yes, sir. That's key. Must be no more than. It could be before that for many reasons, but it can't be no more than. Very simple argument. Number 5, the Q is a straw man. We don't believe that. So the Q is a straw man, eh? What's the Q? Then every horizon distance measurement must be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That's the Q. That's based on your geometry of your... How can that be a straw man? A straw man to your sphere Earth. This is the geometry. So the geometry is a straw man. Good one. Bash yourself in the head with a shovel again for us, please. And refraction, right? That's the catch-all. That saves everything. It's like gravity. Their #1 savior. Gravity. Refraction, right? You don't know what refraction is. Atmospheric refraction. You guys don't know what it is. You don't know the 5 types. I have yet, and it's been over 2 months, to hear the 5 types of refraction from any baller. Right? And haven't heard it for the 3 years before that because all they'd say is refraction. Right? It's atmospheric refraction, not magnifying glass refraction or fish tank with sugar water refraction. This is atmospheric refraction. And there's 5 types from their alma mater wiki. Atmospheric refraction near the ground produces mirages. Such a refraction can also raise or lower or stretch or shorten the images of distant objects without involving mirages. Now, how many types do you see here? Let's count them together. We'll go by the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See them? Let's go to Wiki again. This time, Andrew Thomas Young down here, our subject matter expert, he's inputting this. While mirages are the best known atmospheric refraction phenomena, looming and similar refraction phenomena do not produce mirages. Here they come. Mirages show an extra image or images above the mirage object, while looming, towering, stooping, and sinking do not. No inverted image is present in those phenomena either. Depending on atmospheric conditions, the objects can appear to be elevated or lowered, stretched or stooped. These phenomena can occur together, changing the appearance of the different parts of the objects in different ways. Sometimes these phenomena can occur together with true mirage. So, guess what we're going to do? When you say refraction, we're going to put every single type of refraction up against the black swan photo in that context and see if it has any cowbell. Make sense? So, there are 5 effects of refraction. We already went over those. Let's do it. Number 1, is the horizon miraged? Well, what are mirages? Mirages show an extra image or images of the miraged object. Therefore, is there an extra horizon in the black swan photo? Is there an extra horizon or horizons in this photo? No.
No.
Then it's not a mirage. Number 2, let's take 2 and 3 together. So is the horizon towering or stooping? Well, let's define them. Towering and stooping from Andrew Thomas Young. Towering and stooping change the apparent shape of the object itself. With towering, objects appear stretched. With stooping, objects appear to be shortened. So, that begs the question, is the horizon stretched or shortened in the black swan photo? Is the horizon stretched or shortened in this photo? No. Why? Well, because it's a non sequitur fallacy. It doesn't follow. It doesn't make any sense. So 3 down, 2 to go. Sinking. From William Humphreys, The Physics of the Air. Sinking is the opposite of looming. In sinking, stationary objects that are normally seen above the horizon appear to be lowered or may even disappear below the horizon. In looming, the curvature of the rays is increasing while sinking produces the opposite effect. So, is the horizon lowered or disappeared below the horizon in the black swan photo? Is the horizon lowered or disappeared below the horizon in this photo? No. Because it's non sequitur fallacy again, right? 4 down, 1 to go. Guess what it is? Looming. From their alma mater wiki. Looming is the most noticeable and most often observed of these refraction phenomena. It is abnormally large refraction of the object that increases the apparent elevation of the distant objects and sometimes allows an observer to see objects that are located below the horizon. That should tell you something there, folks, comparing the objects in reference to the horizon, not the horizon below the horizon. Let's take it from Andrew Thomas Young, subject matter expert, San Diego State University. Looming, the appearance above the horizon of a distant object that would normally be hidden below it. We'll take the second part of this definition here in a few minutes. All we need is the top one. So, is the horizon appearing above the horizon in the Black Swan photo? Is the horizon appearing above the horizon in this photo? No? Then it's not looming. That's 5 for 5. You're dead. It's over. It's not atmospheric refraction. You don't know what you're talking about, and you never did. You just parroted it. Refraction. The frigging horizon doesn't ever loom. Ever, ever, ever! Before we get to the second part of the definition, questions, comments?
Yeah, can you add a couple of things to your potential debunk? So number 3 and number 5. I don't know if you want to scroll up. I can't actually see screen, but just let me know when you're in front of them. You there? Huey?
I can't. Sorry, I was on mute. I can't add them right now. It'll mess up my format below. I'll just make a mental note.
No problem. If you just make a mental note. So, number 3 is, we don't see the horizon. Well, this first part you may or may not want to add, but if it were me, I would. And that would be the word geometric. We don't see the geometric horizon. And then in parentheses, I'd put, welcome to flat Earth.
Yes, sir.
The second one was number 5. So the Q statement is a straw man. Just needs the parentheses, welcome to flat Earth.
Yes, sir. Those are healthy
That was
additions. Arwen, sir.
Well, don't have much to add to all that. So, except for there was a super chat earlier from Steve Alm, who says thanks.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it, sir. Paula.
Again, it's the same shell game where they keep wanting to move the goalposts all the time, or should I say move the horizon all the time, but there's no way they can get out of this because they have to have physical obstruction. And if they say, well, you can see farther because it's looming, or whichever term they happen to use at the time, then we have to say, well, this is what the Black Swan argument photo is about, because the horizon can't loom over itself. So all they can do is try to do, like I said, a shell game, move things around, shuffle it around, and hope to confuse people. And probably because they're confused themselves, but I just don't really see a way around it.
Tony, thoughts, sir?
In short, I think there isn't a comeback. You can't use refraction. It's not a collective, generic explanation. You need to define it. There isn't a definition that covers it. I think what's going to have to happen is the official narrative is going to have to make some new refraction shit up. I remind myself of when we were doing the Isle of Man stuff, and they literally changed Google Earth whilst we were doing it. It wouldn't surprise me if there was some new inventive thing, like when Marconi did the transatlantic radio waves and they suddenly invented the ionosphere. There's going to be an ionosphere coming up because they need to address this. What are they going to do? They've got to address it. There's no science to cover this. So watch out for a new ionosphere, because at the moment it's checkmate. It's game over. Over.
Chocolate, sir.
Yeah, Tony, I agree with that. I think they need to do something, but at the same time, I don't think they are going, because these people like the science guy, Bill Nye, right? They're not going to come out with a new a new show to tell people how the horizon is now apparent. About what we did last time when we showed you guys that the boats were going over a physical curve, physical geometric horizon. No, don't worry about that. Now everything's apparent. You really think they're going to do that? Think they're going to change the narrative in that way? No, they're not. They're going to keep touting that nonsense while more and more people out here in the actual real world are going to wake up to this and understand that they're full of shit. That's all it's going to be. To the point where their narrative is just going to fall on its own deathbed by itself, which it's doing now. Because when you have people who can't decide if it's geometric, if it's physical or not physical, if it's apparent, and we got 3 horizons, this is so bad for these guys, for the narrative, I should say, that it's, I don't know, I just can't wait for it to just explode and just destroy it. Because we don't live on a ball with a radius of 3959 miles. So that's it. It's done.
Thank you, Paul.
That third black swan, if they're going to argue refraction on that one, say that thing is looming and stooping, and they're going to have to go all over the place on that one. That's all I was going to say. It's just, if they use refraction, they're done, no matter what they do. That's it.
10th.
Yeah, they're just math deniers all of a sudden. They were using the radius 3959 and observer height, and that's why the bottom of things disappeared, because of Earth's curvature based on math and 3959. Now they're denying math. Are you kidding me? Wake up. This checkmate, like Tony said.
Nathan, finish it up, or are you done?
I'm done.
Yes, sir. Before we get to tearing apart terrestrial refraction of looming, before I get to that, I was messaged this morning about 4 messages concerning this imbecile, right? We all know this one. I don't usually deal with them, but I got overwhelmed by the posts, right? So I figured I'd take a little sidebar right here. Let's see what this imbecile had to say. Listen to this, folks. So, in reference to the black swan photo, fight the fat girth. Oh, look, a positive coefficient of refraction. MC Scorpio 81, can you give me the math of that? Fight the fat girth. Yes, if you give me the lapse rate in that picture. Thank you. Fight the fat girth. Do you have a refractometer in your eyes, Beavis? Number 1. And number 2. Why are you asking for a lapse rate? When you already have to have that, since you need it to calculate the coefficient of refraction. You clumsy, daft muppet numpty of epic proportions. You just bashed your own stupid head in with a shovel, sir. Unfrigging believable. And let me finish it off. You're going to love this. Fat the fat girth. His modus tollens. If P equals Q, not P, then not Q. If P equal Q, if you put this equation into English, it would say if P is Q. So if P is Q, not P, then not Q. My word, sir. You see, I really don't have to do too much. Like I said before, I just let them speak or write. They do all our work for us. Unbelievable. Ah, boy. Back on topic. Let's get back to refraction. Looming. Remember, I said from Andrew Thomas Young, the appearance above the horizon of a distant object that would normally be hidden below it. Remember, now, the concentration is on the object effect in reference to the horizon, not the horizon itself. But we already clobbered that. Let's clobber this. It goes on. This effect is caused by unusually large terrestrial refraction. I don't have to go any further. It's caused by terrestrial refraction, eh? What's that? This is a stone cold begging the question fallacy. Why? Does light refract? Answer? Yeah. Is that the same that can be accounted for by terrestrial refraction? Answer? Nope. Keyword terrestrial. You see, terrestrial refraction already assumes a sphere, i.e. the calculations assume the radius of the Earth. That is curvature. The atmosphere, this is from San Diego State, from Andrew Thomas Young, who just gave us the definition above. He's going to train wreck himself. The atmosphere is also curved, as it follows the shape of the Earth, and the calculations below will adopt a rough value of 6,400 kilometers as the radius of curvature to make the calculation simple. You can't do that. You cannot do that. Why? Because you're begging the question. Your argument's void. See this, Professor? You're assuming the premise. That is, the atmosphere is curved, which is a tear-jerking belly laugher in and of itself. Then by proxy, the Earth's curvature to prove the conclusion true. That is terrestrial refraction or looming. That equals a textbook begging the question fallacy, circular banjo do-si-do. You're done. That's not the worst part of it. Even in their definition, even within their erroneous, fallacious definition, they're wrong. But their definition of looming is also wrong. Let me show you something. Andrew Thomas Young versus his Huckleberry quantum eraser. Looming from Andrew Thomas Young. The appearance above the horizon of a distant object that would normally be hidden below it, just like we talked about above. From Andrew Thomas Young's Huckleberry quantum eraser. Looming is nothing more than an optical illusion produced by the sky being inferior miraged underneath an object, giving the appearance of said object floating above a false horizon. This is the classic example of looming. We talked about this before. It's kind of difficult to see the actual horizon here, but if you use off-center vision, it's very easy to see it. That is, look up here, and in your periphery, you can see exactly where the horizon is. Right? It's right here, right off the bow. Too easy. And when we find ourselves in trouble, we can always count on Mick West to come to our rescue. You see, the press was calling this a Fata Morgana. Same photo. But it's not a Fata Morgana. Mick is correct. This is not a mirage. And he color contrasted the photo to make the horizon appear clearer. And it's in the same place that we seen above. Right here. Right? So thanks a lot for that, Mick. We didn't need this one. The false horizon. Yeah, you identified it correctly. Sure. Yep. But you said it was due to fog. Mick, I think the fog's in between your ears. Do you know why? Because if this is a fog bank, newsflash, you wouldn't see the boat. Okay? Unbelievable. This is from the Scottish Open. Take a look at the left picture. Don't worry about the right picture just yet. In this photograph, you can see where the actual horizon is. Right? You don't need any off-center vision. I can see it plainly. What they did over here to the right is they color corrected to make it come out, right? Doesn't matter. You can see it anyway, right? Whose definition is correct? Whose definition is correct? The appearance above the horizon of a distant object that would normally be hidden below it? Huh? That's not, this is looming. That doesn't match your definition. Andrew Thomas Young. Does it match this definition? Is nothing more than an optical illusion produced by the sky being inferior mirage underneath an object to give the appearance of said objects floating above a false horizon. Gotcha. And probably one of the best that I've seen. And according to Betty, like I said, the boats were being raptured. In this photo, you can also see the horizon without off-center vision. It's right here. All right. Whose definition is correct? You have the sky being inferior miraged underneath an object, giving the appearance that the object's floating, and a false horizon right here. You can see it. The false horizon in this one is also fragmented, right? So you know it's false just by that. You can tell that the clouds, you can see the clouds in the water right here. Yeah, they're collaged a bit, but you can actually see them. It's over. I mean, what more do you want me to do? Questions, comments? Arwen.
Dude, why are you starting with me?
Because your name starts with A and you're the first one on the list?
True. I'm kind of calmly listening in the background, and I don't have much to add at this point. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Isn't this exciting enough for you?
It is. Yes.
Increase the enthusiasm now!
Roar! Black Swan.
Paula.
It's all ad hoc explanations. All this stuff that's been going on for 4 or 5 years is just ad hoc, because as soon as they make a claim and we say, well, here's actual measured, observed evidence against that claim, and then they move the post and move it again. So it's all ad hoc. And this one, though, it has them perplexed because, the Black Swan, because there's no way to ad hoc out of it. There's no way to do anything but what they've tried, like we've mentioned before, about switching sides in the argument, because this is the side that wins. So that's all they can do.
Thanks, Paula. Anthony.
Sorry, I was looking for my active window. There's not a lot else. There's not a lot else to say on top of what's already been said. I did have a point, but I've kind of lost it. It'll come to me in a sec. The last point was about Mick West. Fog, right. So at the end of the day, right, Mick West is supposed to be the science communicator. And he's communicated fog is the explanation. That's as bad as Brenda saying shoe. Because the boat needs to be fogged out too, and we know that that's not happening. So we have to ask the question, well, what is this science communicator communicating? Because it's clearly not fog. And I've never seen fog go across the lens of a camera in a perfectly flat, level, straight edge that just happens to make a horizon appear to be lower. I've seen it wisp way across like smoke in a saloon in the old style Western movies. We've all seen the way that the smoke works. Fog's the same. It does the same kind of wispiness. Clearly not fog. But Mick West doesn't get hate videos and get doxxed and get all these things against him. Why not? He's clearly wrong. But it's okay to do it to us. And all we're doing is saying, hey guys, don't appear to be a ball. You guys have got to add some science to explain this, because it's insufficient. You can't just go refraction, because it isn't good enough. It doesn't cover the scenario. And Mick West needs to do an apology video, a correction, a fix, because he's not got it right. Over.
And nothing on your buddy, Fat to Fat Girth? You missed that part?
Nah, my tongue's tied a little bit in respect to him at the minute, so I'd rather just swerve it, to be honest.
Yes, sir. Chocolate.
Yeah, this whole thing with the looming, it's a little weird that we've been hearing about this looming for a long time, and now it seems like they haven't even really defined it correctly. But at the same time, I think it was Rumpus himself who said something about Andrew Thomas Young saying that they have been using the word incorrectly. I mean, I don't know, maybe I can get a correction from Rumpus later if I'm wrong, but wasn't it something about you're just using like you're applying the historical use of it? I mean, what is it? Basically, what you're supposed to use standard refraction. That's what you were told, that you were supposed to use standard refraction from your subject matter expert. So that means you were basically told to beg the question.
Yes.
And not use looming.
Right. Yes. That's correct. Right. Standard refraction. Well, where'd they get the radius from? We're going to see that here in a few minutes. Is that it, Chocolate?
Just before we do, just before we do, Chocolate, can you imagine what would be the scenario if we begged the question that we needed a ether to propagate light? Now, I'm not saying that we do. I'm just saying that if we begged the question that we needed an ether for light to propagate through, they don't allow us to do that because they say there's no evidence of an ether. Yet they expect us to just allow them to beg the question on the shape of the Earth. Well, you can't have it both ways. If we can't beg the question for ether, you guys can't beg the question for the shape of the Earth. So you either allow us to beg the question for ether, if you adapt the ether arguments, but you can't reject it because that would be hypocritical. So let's stop the arguing against the idea of whether there's an ether or not, because you guys can't argue that if you're going to assume that the Earth's a sphere. It works both ways.
Oh, we wouldn't be begging the question with the ether. Maybe you, not we. Take the French out of it.
No, I'm just addressing those that don't let us beg the question.
I'm
not arguing for or against. Let's be really clear.
I see you were just providing an analogy. Thank you. Pick another analogy next time. Thanks. But you took it well, man. Paul.
I mean, you guys are saying it better than I could. And again, if you're going to argue refraction, there is nothing you can measure. It's all refracted.
Thank you, sir. 10th.
Well, forget ether, because there's not even an or. You quoted Andrew Thomas Young saying this: looming, the appearance above the horizon of a distant object that would normally be hidden below it. Hey, Rumpus, this is your guy. Why aren't you listening to him? The appearance above the horizon of a distant object that would normally be hidden below it. He doesn't get this.
None of them do. They don't know. I told you 3.5 years ago, all they did was refraction, right? They don't know what it is. Just like they didn't know what gravity was. It's the same scenario.
They keep quoting Andrew Young, but why aren't they quoting him properly?
Because they're fanatical religious zealots tied to a fairy tale. That's why. Is that it, 10th?
That's it. I won't refract my comment, though.
The Adam Meakin. Sir.
Evening, everyone. Sorry I'm late. I was having a nice family tea. I've missed most of it, but I've only got one thing to say, really. Black Swan.
Black Swan. Thank you, sir. Nathan Oakley.
Yeah, I want to add to what Paula said, because Paula said that, I can't remember the exact words that you used. Are you there, Paula?
Mm-hmm.
So you were saying that they can't flip-flop or double-speak or obfuscate. I can't remember the exact word you used.
I used shell game, and I also ad hoc.
Ad hoc, that was it.
Yeah.
Give an ad hoc explanation, something that seems plausible on the surface, but is just made up on the spot, basically. Yeah, ad hoc explanations. Well, it's worse than them not being able to ad hoc their way around it, because every time they attempt to give an ad hoc explanation on the spot, they end up relinquishing their model. In other words, well, for example, Mr. Sensible, at best, you've disproven the radius of the Earth. In his mind, he thinks he's done well. He's telling himself, well, that's the logical way around this. Concede the logic, because it's holding true, and he's gone through it and nodded along. Right, yeah, distance to geometric horizon, yeah. The other, I mean, there's plenty of examples that I've released in little snippet clips, some of them with Rumpus in, where he says, no, we don't have a geometric horizon. And preceding that, he's told Anthony about Soundly's image and how many oodles of blockage there is because of the physical geometric horizon being in the way. And then in the same conversation says we don't have a geometric horizon. It can only be seen if you suck out all the atmosphere. Having literally in the same conversation told Anthony how much obstruction there is from the geometric horizon. And this is devastating. All they can do is flip-flop and give ad hoc explanations that dig their own grave. We're supposed to have a geometric horizon. That's the basis of their religion. Their assertion is we're on a physical rock that's sphere-shaped. And if it is a physical rock that's sphere-shaped, it's got physical geometry and constraints therein. We don't have a geometric horizon according to them. That's game over. Welcome to Flat Earth.
I would also add, too, that if the Soundly image, the bridge, curves down because of physical curvature, then that should never change just because something else might be in conditions, past the horizon. The thing is that you should still have the curvature, and the things that loom above it then would be back up to eye level. It just doesn't work in any way.
Precisely.
Exactly. And last but by no means least, if things are being refracted, then it's no longer feasible to do straight line geometry. You can't draw a straight line to the horizon to assert how much physical geometric blockage and obstruction there will be based on the physical obstruction, blocking things in the distance that you'll give us in feet and inches, and it's refracted, then you can't perform this straight line geometry. So they're screwed the moment they infer that there's any refraction whatsoever, because they can't do their geometry anymore.
Exactly. You got it. We're going to go over that here in a couple seconds. All right. Last part of the presentation. So, if anyone is out there in the audience and they have a claim or a question or a comment, this is your chance to pile on in the BALLBUSTERS VC in Flat Earth Debate, Science versus Pseudoscience. So the link is in the description below. Let's roll. Oh, brother. Horizons. Let's go over some horizons from National Geographic. They're going to give us 5. Now, I'll give all 5 citations. If it's not from National Geographic, I will tell you. Number 1, the local horizon, also called the geometrical horizon, is the visible boundary between the earth and sky. Visible. So when they say you never see the geometric horizon, they're making stuff up because it's the antithesis of the actual definition of the term. This is the geometric horizon. Number 2, the geographic horizon is the apparent boundary between the earth and sky. Well, that's the geometric horizon because the geometric horizon is also apparent, and it's the boundary between the earth and the sky. Simple. Number 3, the sea level horizon is the geographic horizon at sea level. So, since the geographic horizon is the geometric horizon, and the sea level horizon is the geographic horizon, that means the sea level horizon is, guess what? The geometric horizon. Simple. Number 4, the astronomical horizon is the imaginary horizontal... Imaginary? I'm sorry. We work at the really is level here. Imagination. Let's try another definition for the astronomical horizon from Encyclopedia Britannica. Horizon in astronomy, the boundary where the sky seems to meet the ground or sea. Thanks. That's the geometric horizon. Appreciate that. And number 5. The true horizon. The true horizon is the imaginary plane that... imaginary? I'm sorry. We work at the really is level here. So, what they're saying is they got 5 different terms for the same damn thing. Also known as an equivocation fallacy. Just to let you know. The latest and greatest baller rebuttal. I don't know if this is the latest and greatest. This happened before, but I thought to keep this in here because it goes on the conceptual theme of their excuses. So this is a photo I got from many ballers a couple weeks ago. What they say that this is the apparent horizon up here, and this is the geometric horizon. Let's find out what the geometric horizon is. Again, National Geographic. The local horizon, also called the geometrical horizon, is the visible boundary between the Earth and the sky. This is the visible boundary between the Earth and the sky. That means that this up here is the geometric horizon. And by the way, the geometric horizon is apparent. Duh. And here we go. This is what's actually going on here, folks. The globe horizon, anywhere you want to be. The astronomical horizon, the apparent horizon, the artificial horizon, the horizon to be named later. And the geometric horizon, not exact location. This is it. This is their argument, folks, I'm telling you. We've received this argument in pieces and in whole every single time this subject comes up. This is it. Take a good look. Have your therapist look at it and his therapist. You're going to need it. Ray tracing. If you haven't heard this term before, you will. From Andrew Thomas Young, subject matter expert, San Diego State University, Astronomy Department. Some people have worried about how to apply the refraction law to such a horizontal ray of light, because it doesn't cross any horizontal boundaries between denser and less dense air in a stratified atmosphere. In general, the curvature of the ray is different from the curvature of Earth's surface, but here we are only concerned with the rays that bend just enough to follow the curve of the Earth. The simplest solution to the horizontal ray paradox. I say again, the horizontal ray paradox. Go look up what paradox means. Is to remind ourselves that rays are an unrealistic mental construct. In reality, we always have a beam of light. Infinitely narrow rays don't really exist. So I'm sorry, we here work on the really exist level. And finally, one of my favorites. You see, they didn't actually get the radius of the Earth from Eratosthenes, right? They don't have any primary information on that. They just made that up. Especially when they invoke sticks. You see, Eratosthenes never used sticks, people. What a joke. No. See, they actually use Al-Biruni for the Earth's radius. Al-Biruni, from 973 to 1048, developed a new method using trigonometric calculations to compute Earth's radius and circumference based on the angle between the horizontal line and the true horizon, the imaginary horizon from above, from a mountaintop with known height. He calculated the height of the mountain by going to 2 points at sea level with a known distance apart and then measuring the angle between the plane and the top of the mountain for both points. Biruni's estimate of 6,339.9 kilometers for the Earth's radius had an error of 0.0026 and was 16.8 kilometers less than the current value of 6,356.7 kilometers. The idea came to him when he was on top of a tall mountain near Nandana in India. He measured the dip angle using the astrolabe, and he applied to the law of sines formula. He also made use of algebra in this calculation. Now, this is going to be easy. There's a lot of train wrecks in this statement. I'm only going to use one. It's going to be frigging self-evident, slap in your face obvious. You ready? A is the highest point of the mountain. B, the lowest point of the mountain. H, the height of the mountain. C, the lowest point of the true horizon visible from point A. Let me ask you something. If this horizon is refracted, how are you getting a geometric radius from it? I say that again. If this horizon is refracted, how in the world are you getting a geometric radius from it? The prosecution rests. Thanks for your ear. Have a nice day. Questions, comments? Arwen.
Yeah, you got a pretty good point there. It's I have to think about it for a moment. But yeah, carry on.
Do another cannonball. Paula, increase the enthusiasm, please.
The first thing is that a while back I did a video called "Because," and what it is the common phenomenon that people who just cannot deal with your argument, they will sometimes do, well, almost always ad hominem, in the form of saying, you just don't understand the science. There's something wrong with you for not agreeing with our conclusions. There must be some fault in you. It isn't that, your argument beats ours, is that you don't understand. So that's just another because. It's a ad hominem that they're trying to figure out in their own mind how anyone could disagree with them, and it's just arrogant to do that. And so what they're trying to do is protect ego, basically, and saying, as you illustrated with the mountaintop so-called deduction, which is again just calculation, not observation, of something that they presupposed and something that isn't real by their own definition, that they can't get geometry from. The only thing left to do is ad hom. And so they will say, well, this makes perfect sense. You just don't understand it. And that's what we see in the chats and what we see in the videos trying to debunk it all. But again, if you have, any sense at all, you have to see that this is them tripping over their own definitions and just getting frustrated and not knowing how to respond to it.
Thanks, Paula. Tony. Thanks, Tony. Chocolate.
Yeah, there's nothing really much I can add at this point. Just celebrating the death of the geometric horizon that, as I'm being told in chat currently, you can't see. I don't understand this whole we can't see the geometric horizon, which is supposed to be the curve. You guys are literally saying we can't see the curve. Do you guys get this?
Thank you. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Exactly. Let's enjoy, man. That's all I can say. Keep sharing your pain. I know this might be a while before you get over it, but this is ridiculous. You guys are literally telling us we can't see the geometric horizon. We've never seen it. You guys used to call it the curve. I don't know. Maybe you want to go back to old hangouts where you guys called it the curve. You boats are going over the curve. Now you say we can't see it. Did you think you were just gonna wave that over us because we're calling it the geometric horizon? You guys used to call it the curve, right? Now you guys are saying you've never seen it. We don't see it. Well, welcome to Flat Earth. Have a good day.
We're not gonna just we're not gonna let you just walk out of here. Tony. I thought that was you trying to jump all over or rumpus me. The Adam Meakin, sir.
Probably just a quick question for Nave, because I know he is the finest purveyor of quality horizons, and I just wondered if he'd maybe do me a bit of discount on maybe one celestial, two apparent, and a geometric horizon.
You can't have a geometric. So like rocking or
even if I buy some of the others.
No. Doesn't matter which other apparent horizon you buy, redundant, you can't buy a geometric one. It's the only one I can't sell.
Adam, because you're my boy, I'm going to give you half price on the chocolate horizon. They're going out.
It's kind of
So,
semi-erotic, that.
Smash the super chat. Smash the super chat if you want an apparent horizon.
I've changed my mind. I just want one chocolate horizon, please. And I'll take that discount.
Is that all you've got, Adam?
Yeah. Next one's Paul. Paul, sir.
I was coming. I was trying to get to the mute button. Well, I've been on this scene for what, a couple of years now, and the biggest thing I've noticed throughout this whole discussion, the ballers either do one of two things: they either come up with their own definitions, or they change existing definitions. And the other thing is, when I get into this discussion now, all I have to do is, how did you measure the R? They say, well, measured the horizon. Oh, isn't it refracted? So how do you know you're getting the geometric horizon? That is all.
Every direction you turn, spinning space monkeys, there is a flamethrower waiting there for you. 10th.
Oh my gosh. This is like a football game. 75 points to 0, and the first quarter just ended, and there's 3 quarters to play. And we're thinking, do we keep piling on, or do we just like allow them to score 1 point? No, we're going to keep piling on. Rumpus, your acumen for even words is ridiculous in chat right now. You're projecting everything, your cognitive dissonance that you're going through on us. You must have a measurable geometric horizon because you have a measurable globe with a radius and observer height. You can't produce it. So all you do is project and say, we don't understand science when you don't even know what the heck you're looking at. It's so frustrating. I think I'll start a channel.
Yeah. And this isn't science. Duh. Nathan, sir.
I've been asking my audience to get a pen. Write this down, fundies. If the horizon is refracted, it's not geometric. We only have one horizon. Just not the horizon in your sphere model.
Thank you, sir. Righteous. Now, listen up. Anyone can join the voice chat Ballbusters in Betty's Flat Earth Discord. The link is in the info box below. You can join right up. Now remember, everyone entering that Discord chat, you are clean slated. I don't care who you are. That means any bad history between guests and panel members will be put aside and not spoken of. That goes for panel members also. There are 3 zero-tolerance rules. Number 1, no ad homs, i.e. attacking the man in lieu of the argument. Number 2, no scattergunning. One topic at a time, each will be exhausted to conclusion before moving to the next. Be prepared to support every claim. And number 3, be polite, speak slowly and coherently. If any of these 3 are violated, you will be server muted and immediately kicked from the Ballbusters voice chat. I'm not kidding. Righteous, you heard those? Start at the top. Claims, comments, questions. Be careful out there, people. You got the con.
Right. First is Buster 2, but I'm not sure if he ever speaks. You're off mute. And before we move back to Cranberry Coyote, I just found out he's 15. So do you still want to hear from him?
No, that's against.
I know.
Right. You know the deal with that, Righteous?
Yep. All right, we'll go back to Alberico. Alberico, you're off mute. Okay. Moving on to Erwin Janssens.
Nothing really to add. It should be blatantly obvious. I'm in a heated discussion at the moment with somebody on a Dutch forum, and all they can do is spray fallacies and go with obfuscations, going to the platforms and dividing the attention to other things. Yeah, that's about it.
All right. And next we got 50 Unorthodox. Do you want to chat? You see him chatty in live stream. Maybe he's busy again. We can go on to Pool Dog Bear.
Hi guys, I'm having a real bad connection problem. You can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we hear you.
It's really bad. It's going in and out. I just want to say, was their edge as a joke. You know, I don't know. Well,
Yeah, hey, Pull Dog, you're chopping, man.
I think I got the gist of what he said. He was saying I was going to ask them for their edge as a joke. I think that's what he said.
Yeah, that's his
well, my joke.
favorite
Yeah,
joke.
my joke is the ballers have lost their edge. You know, but their horizon and radius as well. You know, and I think that the radius thing is obviously a huge thing, and just gloss over it as if it's. No, don't worry about that. Nothing to see here. Crazy. Yeah. Don't know.
All right. Moving on to Speed or Speedy.
That red man.
He's busy. He's at work. Well, we can finally move on to the Rumpus now. Rumpus?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Very good. I'm afraid QE doesn't have the most basic understanding of the arguments.
Be
or the
careful.
issues, and doesn't seem to understand science. So, I mean, if
That's
we look at
ad
the top
hom.
of the-
Ad hom immediately.
No.
You're gone.
Yeah,
Right.
he had one chance. Ad
That-
hom.
Yep.
Not off.
Get out. That's a personal at the man ad hom. I told you about this. I will not tolerate it.
Kiwi,
Goodbye.
Would you accept?
Kick him.
Kiwi, would you accept a plea of clemency for my friend Rumpus?
No, you tried that one on me, and I got 9 ad homs from him. 9.
I know. I'm just trying to be the balance of fairness here. It's only fair that someone pleads for clemency, and I'm going to do it. Can we give him one chance and let him come back in?
Nope, he's gone.
Burn him, he's a witch.
Burn him, burn him.
Sorry, Rumpus, I tried.
Yeah,
I yield the
you couldn't
floor.
make it the first sentence you couldn't get out without an ad hom, bro.
Hold on.
That's just sad.
We know he's going to do
Hold
it.
on. Let's not dwell on other people.
Yeah.
Well, Travis Clark has said he's busy, so we got Unicorn Laser Eyes as the last one. But I'm not sure he talks much, so that might be it.
Can I just add something to Pool Dog Bear's point? Because you were saying ballers have lost their edge.
Yes.
Again, I've highlighted this on a couple of shows. Their necessity to give us an edge, to me now, is very, very telling. So since the start, I've been challenged to show people my edge of my disc and my pizza that I don't hold up and reify. And they have depictions of it with boats going over it and water dribbling off it. Now, that's not a coincidence. The reason we as flat earthers have been challenged to show globeheads our edge is because attack is the best form of defense, and this is the weakest part of their assertion that we're on a spinning space ball flying through a vacuum. This is the weakest point, the linchpin, if you will. So understanding why you've been asked to provide them with an edge is because their edge is very tentative, very fragile, and the black swan has shot holes in it. So be aware why you're being asked for your edge and why they've had a necessity to rephrase what is the edge of a sphere and boats going over it into Earth curve. Why the carefully phrased terminology that's bantered around so much? Well, because if we had the word edge being used for the edge that the boats go over and obscure things, it might highlight our cognition to the fact that their edge is delicate. Now, their edge is non-existent. They can't use refraction, it's based on an R value. An R value giving them a physical, reified Earth curve edge to obscure things and tell us how much is obscured by it in feet and inches. Well, they don't have that for the refraction value at 7/6R, or if you're a moron like Ruhif, greater than infinite over 6R, because he doesn't understand what infinite means. Nevertheless, they don't have an R value anymore. The black swans killed it. All they had up until now was the assumption of R and the ridicule of a model we don't hold and its edge. Their edge doesn't exist. It needs to, but it doesn't. We only have one horizon. It's not geometric.
All right, we got 2 new people. But before that, Unicorn Laser Eye says he's at work listening, can't talk, but let him know. Great show.
Thank you, sir.
And we got... Somebody else wanted to say something?
I said thank you, sir. Go ahead, Righteous.
Okay. And it's Squiggly. Squiggly, got something to say? And if not Squiggly, then we can go on to Erod. You there, Erod? I guess that's it. Let me check the list.
Wow.
That seems about it. But Rumpus came back, so...
No. Nope.
Okay,
nope.
we're done.
Against the rules. That's it. I said 0 tolerance, and I damn meant it. Now, you can come back in 2 weeks if you'd like. You'll be clean slated, but 0 tolerance. Go look up what 0 tolerance is, and while you're at it, try to figure out what science and coherency is at the same time. Appreciate it. Final thoughts. Let's wrap it up. Arwen.
Yeah, we got them by the balls. Black Swan killed it all. No more geometric horizon. They just keep on flopping in the doublespeak, and that's it.
Pluggy channel.
Yeah, Arwin, ARWIJN, Flat Earth Early Bird Show every day, 2 p.m. Amsterdam time. Come and visit me sometime.
Thanks, Arwen. Paula.
Nothing additional to add. As always, it's been a point that we can't make too often for people who don't get it yet. But for those of us who do, it's like, well, how many ways can you say it? But yeah, I have a channel too, Bible literalist, and I do Bible stuff. Shockingly, so.
No, don't sell yourself short. Bible Literalist channel is not just about Bible literacy. It's about a lot of other stuff as well. So there's plenty of other stuff. I'm not a Christian, but I watch your channel, and I enjoy the Christian stuff, don't get me wrong, but there's plenty of other stuff to pick from on Paula's channel. So Bible Literalist, be here, be sphere. Fantastic channel.
Thanks, Nathan. Yes, I do have a cosmology playlist. If somebody wanted to avoid the Bible stuff, there is that. So, yep, thanks.
Tony.
I'm going to repeat words from the last couple of BALLBUSTERS show. I've mentioned it on Nathan's show a few times. It's one thing to point this at the ballers and say, hey guys, you got a problem. We need to look at it from our own introspection, because our own side is still not picking this up. the lead protagonists on our side are swerving this like a beast, and it's glaringly obvious by the deafness. There's no communication coming from key players. I'm not going to name them. We can all see who's not talking about it. But you've got to ask yourself the question, well, why? Is it the case that it's not as strong as what we say it is? If so, I'm going to invite and challenge our own side to say why it is that they're not dealing with this. Why are they not pushing it? It's blatantly obvious. Shout out to Mark Sargent. He gets it. He's sharing it. There's other people on our side that are not. If you're not sharing this, I want to know why. Come on the show and defend your position. You should be pushing this. They don't have a geometric edge anymore. So what is the edge? Well, we know it's apparent. It does debunk the model. Why is our side not pushing it? If you've got a reason, let's hear it. If it's not as strong as we say it is, let's hear why. Because otherwise, you guys should be pushing it. I don't know how else to word this other than, is there a controlled narrative going on? There is no control in Nathan's show. We don't always agree with each other. And there are points that we fight with each other over offline. And we fall out. And you've seen it. You've seen people fall out with us because things we don't agree with, they end up going their own separate way. This is definitely not an echo chamber. We don't always agree. Yet for some reason, people on our side are not pushing this. And the silence is deafening. Ask why. Is it controlled, or is it that they just don't get it yet? If you don't get it, ask for it to be explained. If you do get it, start bloody pushing it. Nobody's got a commentary against this. They can't defend it. Yet our side are still not pushing it. Why? Out.
An incoherent second grader can understand this argument. Tony, they're just digging their own graves. So I'm just going to let them dig. Ain't going to announce them. Ain't going to say who it is or who it isn't. The people that are your subscribers or the people that are following you, if you're not speaking to this #1 globe killer, bar none, it's so easy, right? Then you're digging your own grave. Thank you very much. Chocolate.
Hold on. Sleeping Warrior. Subscribe to Sleeping Warrior. His channel's called Sleeping Warrior. Subscribe today.
Chocolate.
Yeah. I'll just say that if you don't realize how devastating the argument is, just listen to their response to it. Listen to how many times they flip-flop between the things that they say. They'll say one thing and completely contradict it in the next sentence. Right? And that has happened because of the Black Swan. It's really that simple. I mean, anybody could really see it. Right? It's been displayed many times now since the Black Swan has come out. And sure, there are plenty of other awesome arguments for the fact that we don't live on a magical spinning water ball, because we don't. And it's evident. But this is the one that has made them completely do a 180 from their very own arguments. And now are arguing our arguments. So if that's not blatantly apparent to people, I don't know what to tell you. But for those that understand and get it, go out there and kill them with this. This is that simple. This is a wrap. We don't live on a ball. It's preposterous at this point in 2020 that people still believe that. So, okay, I'm done. Great show, man.
Thanks, Chocolate. Paul.
I can't talk, but good show.
You just talked. 10.
That's good. Great show, QE. Just sound arguments backed by good citations and good logical reasoning. And all the ballers could do in chat is just project. So keep it up, boys. It's fantastic.
Plug your channel.
Oh, 10th Man Dishes. 10THMANDISHES cooking channel featuring flatware.
The Adam Meekin, sir.
Well, I think Chocolate summarised the argument and the points beautifully. So, honest, it's not fair anymore, is it? And I want a little appeal to Nathan. I think maybe once every 8 weeks we should just go blah 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 blah, blah and not be allowed to mention the Black Swan. Just to give him some hope. Seriously, the response from the ball side has been quite telling, and I think, I'm being honest, exemplified by the rumpus this evening.
Thanks, Adam. Nathan, you want to round us out?
Adam, you've got more than one channel to plug.
Ooh. Yeah, Iron Rail Media, first and foremost, obviously. Having a little break at the moment, but we've got Fridays, I think in about 3 weeks for the new year. Then there's obviously the TFR show with the guys, Josh, Walt and Zach. And that's 10 o'clock Tuesdays and Fridays on TFR. And then I'm thinking of just like doing a few boring bits myself on my channel as well. Wow. Iron Realm's taking a New Year siesta. So yeah, that's the Adam Meakin channel as well. So maybe get a bell notification, because I might be doing a few bits soon. Me and John Savage are getting twitchy and bored already. So there you go. Cheers, Nathan, for the reminder.
Nathan, take us home, sir.
In terms of a summary, I couldn't agree with Chocolate. He said it perfectly. You couldn't agree more with Chocolate. He said it perfectly. This is a devastating argument, and people who don't appreciate that, or maybe are a bit cautious because they don't fully understand it, which is perfectly understandable, then look into it. Don't use it if you don't understand it. You'll end up getting your head chopped off. But by the same token, it definitely needs or warrants investigation from people who are unfamiliar with the argument. So Chocolate summed it up beautifully. Know it, learn it, understand it, chop people's heads off, and witness the people who do get it chopping people's heads off. So I've kept my ear very much to the ground since this argument's come out. I mean, literally daily I'm searching for people who've got any sort of rebuttal, any response to this argument, or indeed people, as a byproduct of searching for rebuttals, I've come across people who are releasing their black swans. So what I've been doing is cutting it up and putting an intro and outro on it, introducing the person if it's a black swan capture and a vague bit of information. Mostly they explain it themselves in their own videos, but then putting those videos out on my channel so you can see them in various different guises and lengths, along with, as I say, the arguments that have come along our way, either from the people in their own echo chamber, trimming out a bit of what we've said and then responding to it in their own time, or the people who've actually got the courage to come in and challenge us in the debate. And those have been trimmed out into concise videos. And I've gone to, I'm not going to lie, a lot of effort to do that, because strike while the iron's hot. This is the hot topic of the moment. And I want people to understand it. I want people who are out there either searching through their hard drives to find older captures or going out there and capturing new black swans. I want them to be recognised. In other words, the people who get the argument, I want them to be praised, because that's the way it grows. And it's not because it needs pushing. Can't remember, I think it was Burn Fat Till My Stomach is as Flat as the Earth, and my GoFundMe campaign that I recently did said, a lion doesn't need defending, it's like the truth. You let it loose, it'll defend itself. And this is exactly what the black swan is. It's the obvious and observable nature of reality laid bare, with their argument tied into it, so that there is no escape. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the people who come and put their arguments forward for the globe Earth, relinquishing their own arguments, debunking their own statements, often in the same breath. So if you're not recognising the importance of this argument, you need to wake up and smell the tea bags.
Thank you, sir. Thanks to all the participants, all the guests, all the Ballbuster panel. Take this #1 ball killer and give it to everyone you know. The ball stops here. And we're not just going to let you walk out of here.